Okay. Apparently we're live. That's what it says anyway. I don't know
Yeah,
how truthful it is, but
I'm seeing live, so we'll go with it. We'll pretend that it's telling us the truth.
right? Absolutely. Oh, so yeah. So for anybody that's watching, thanks for tuning in. My name is Stephanie, and I'm the founder of the Perspective Shifters Hub and Perspective Shifting LLC. And I'm joined by Jason Matthews, who's one of our experts, also one of my board members, which is a funny story in and of itself because it was the first day that I met Jason that I put him on my board. So there's a whole other conversation that we could probably have about that. But um, we decided that we were just going to come live. I'm trying to get into a habit of going live a little bit more often on different platforms. And so I've invited my experts to join me live for a coffee chat. So we don't have any agenda today. We don't have a specific topic that we're necessarily going to talk about, but we're going to chat. And if you have questions, if there's anything that you guys can think of, put it into the chat. Jason and I are both leadership development specialists. We have a very broad background on leadership development, emotional intelligence. So there's a lot there. Jason, do you want to kind of go over what you've been working on lately, kind of where the direction that you're headed in is so that everybody can understand and maybe give a little bit of your background? Because I think most of the people that would be watching this from my side are already familiar with me. So.
Cool. Yeah. Well, first of all, thanks for having me on this chat.
Yeah.
It's always wonderful to be able to connect with you
Yeah.
and be able to have a meeting of the minds, so to speak. As you can see from the name tag, my name is Jason Matthews, and I help men, especially, who are working to either get the promotion they feel they deserve or secure the opportunity that they've been looking for, and give them the resources that they need or that they feel that they are lacking. That's keeping them from being able to just get on it, from being able where they feel like they've been missing something or lacking, showing them how they can get exactly what they want. And all it takes is a shift of perspective and understanding how their own behaviors, especially the behaviors of wanting to please others and wanting to be just that go-to person or be someone that is likable more than is really um, direction oriented or purposeful, is harming them and is keeping them from achieving what they want to achieve, showing them how just by focusing on four small things, you can go from uh, where you are stuck and either in a dead end job or dealing with the kinds of clients or customers that you may not necessarily like, but you need to run your business, to a point where you are getting recognized for what you are really capable of. You are loving what you are doing, and you feel a sense of purpose in what you do. So if that's something that resonates with you, I'll make sure that Stephanie has my information. She can send it to you guys, and we can have a conversation.
Yeah, Jason, your information's on the website, so they can always go to perspectiveshifters.com and then check our expert page. And Jason's there. All of his, I think his website and at least his email is there. If not, reach out to admin at Perspective Shifters and we'll get that information over to you. Yeah, so Jason, I really like to talk about the people pleasing aspect because that's something that I think a lot of people, especially in the Midwest and especially in the US, are trained to do. In fact, I've had some conversations with people overseas who have told me that they really love the US, except for the fact that everyone is so dang polite here. And that politeness leads to essentially you not being able to trust people, right? So there's this aspect of everybody's so polite, but you don't know if they really mean it. You don't know if it's true, if it's authentic. And I think as people pleasers, we habitually do that. And then we think that other people might have ulterior motives or other people might be in a place where we can't trust them and what they're doing. So I'd love to hear a little bit more about your perspective on people pleasing, just from a general perspective, whether it's men and women. But I know for me personally, that people pleasing aspect probably came a lot from childhood. I was just on another call where we were talking about how we were to be seen and not heard. We weren't supposed to kind of speak up and speak our mind. And there's a lot of that, I think, that has happened through the years with us here in the U.S. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on that.
Sure. So people pleasing, as you so aptly observed, it does come, we do learn it. It's not something that we just do. It's something we learn. And it's something that we learn from one of two examples. Either we've learned that we have to be good, or we've learned that we are inherently bad. And in either case, we are trying to prove our goodness or our validity, or at least try to convince that we, others, and ourselves, that we are not as bad as we were made to believe. And so in either case, there is this desire to be nice. There's this condition, nice guy syndrome, that was coined by there's actually a book called No More Mr. Nice Guy. I forget, Dr. Robert Glover, coined the phrase nice guy syndrome. And I loved his book, and I've actually been doing a lot of the work even before I read his book, and have really understood that the nice guy paradigm is a trap. And this is I deal with specifically with men, so I use nice guys. Of course, you can call them good girls, and you can say the same thing. But with nice guys, it's an illusion, because nice guys really aren't that nice, because they observe what I call shade behaviors. And shade is an acronym. It stands for secretive, hollow, averse, distant, and evasive. And so it's, say again?
So I love that. And I think it's something that that we could apply from a leadership aspect too.
Oh, absolutely. So this is a person who will withhold information, being secretive, in order to, because they think it's better for someone, that they're sparing someone's feelings, or they will have a superficial interaction because they don't want to get hurt. They're afraid that if they commit, someone else is going to find more about them than they want to reveal. Or they're going to be averse. They're going to create conflict-oriented situations. They're going to create distance between them and someone else, again, either to spare someone else, I'm doing this for your own good. And really, that's not the case. It's self-serving. Or they're being evasive. They are not taking responsibility. They are not owning up, and they are not committing to things. So these are all behaviors that create really bad situations. And when people wonder, well, why does this always happen to me? Well, look in the damn mirror. Yeah. You're kind of doing this to yourself. You are doing this to yourself through the behaviors that you are contributing to, and then you are getting back exactly what you're putting out there. Mm-hmm. So, of course, you're going to be getting exactly what you get. So what I teach people to do is to go from shade to trace. And trace, again, is an acronym, which stands for transparent, relatable, assertive, had to go through the acronym, compassionate, and empowered. And these are the kinds of behaviors that let someone know that you are worthy of respect. Respect is not given, it is earned. And what it is earned through the way that you conduct yourself, the way that you not only conduct yourself as a person, but you conduct yourself with others. So when you are transparent with your information, when you just give information as you want to get people to trust you, that's a good thing. As you are relatable, people begin to see that you are someone that's worthy of your trust or their trust. When you are assertive, people begin to respect you more. They begin to see you as someone who's not a pushover. When you're compassionate, people feel like you can understand them, that they want to be more vulnerable, and that creates the trust vulnerability stack. And when you are empowered, you begin to believe, or you begin to show that you can get things done, that you are someone who is a man of purpose. Yeah. And these are things that people are looking for. These are the kind of behaviors that people crave, especially from men. Men are born to lead. They have an inherent ability to show leadership qualities. And by not stepping into that, they are robbing themselves and others of great opportunities. Mm-hmm. So by showing men how to become excellent leaders, I show them how they can be of service to others and how others can actually benefit from that.
Yeah. And I think it's so important because I think, especially I think about millennials in this case, which I think that you and I are really close to that age. I'm considered an elder millennial, but
I'm a Gen X, thank you very much.
okay. So you're probably a year or two older than me, I would guess. But yeah, I feel like as millennials, for me, and this rang true, that we're taught to save the world. Like we were taught that we were the generation that could fix everything. And I know for me personally, I always leaned into that. I always felt like I needed to do something about things, but there wasn't enough of a, there wasn't enough of that willingness to allow us to express ourselves for us to be able to step into those places. And it's one reason that I admire my kids and the generations that are coming up right now, because they don't care. Like they're going to tell you what they think regardless. And for me, as I was stepping into leadership, being assertive was something that was always a challenge for me because of that, like you said, good girl, nice guy syndrome, right? Because I didn't want to hurt anybody's feelings. I didn't want to make anybody mad. And I think that came from a long history of feeling like I needed to take responsibility for everyone else's emotions. In fact, being told that you've made me angry or you've hurt me, or I can't believe that, and maybe not even me, but other people, this person hurt me so bad. Right. So I never wanted to be the person that hurt anybody else. And I think that guys kind of, especially our good guys, right? Especially the ones that we want as leaders, the ones that we want to pull into the space of being able to be that example that we set for next generations. They're of that mentality of going, I don't want to hurt anybody, so I'm just going to sit over here and not say anything. And we're in a space of being so divided too. You know what I mean?
So I want to clarify something. There's a big difference between a nice guy and a good man.
Yeah.
And the nice guy is going to go out of his way to convince you that he is good without actually demonstrating behaviors that that are actually good, but just more of people pleasing, trying to pander to someone else's idea of what nice is. It's highly manipulative. Whereas a good man is going to do things because they need to be done. They're going to do things because they understand that this is how things work and this is what is needed in order for results to be had. Exactly. So there's a big difference between being a nice guy and being a good man. So, and that's what I really try to do. I try to take nice guys and turn them into good men.
Yeah. And I think, the point that I was making was more along the lines of like, we need them to lead, and we need, both women and men to step in that space of being assertive and sharing how they feel. And that's, my background, why I do what I do, right? And why I'm so passionate about it. But I think that you're exactly right in the idea of saying, if you are in this place of manipulating others and maybe not doing it consciously, right? Like you and I have talked about the word manipulation, that we give that word a bad tone, but everybody manipulates, right? Like it's just a part of our behavior, and it's a survival technique. Like we've done it for centuries. It's what we do. But I think if we're in that space of wanting to convince other people, then we're not being authentic in general. And I think that's the piece for me. Your acronyms speak so much to me, because I think that, when we can be authentic and be in that space, and I almost hate that word because it's been so overused, and it's been so manipulated by the coaching community. To me, and I think something more than what it for me it means, but for me it means stepping into who you truly are and telling people what they need to hear, and not necessarily what they want to hear. And right. I think that's a big thing, right? And I think, you can do that with tact, compassion, empathy. You can be in that space to empower other people and inspire other people without having to give up, what helps you to stand in integrity.
True. One thing that I want to add is the idea that everyone manipulates. Yes, you are correct, because we've been doing that since we were born.
Mm-hmm.
Manipulation is the ability to get something or get someone to change their behavior or mindset in order for us to get what we need.
Yeah.
So, and we've been doing that since day one. We've had to. It's how we survived.
Right.
But what I challenge people to do is to consider that instead of manipulating, how about inspiring? Manipulation is easy. It's something that we've learned to do. And if you are just in a survival mindset, you're going to find ways to manipulate. However, when you rise above just the survival and you want to thrive, the only way that you can truly thrive is if you take your behavior and decide that you're going to, instead of just manipulate, you're going to find ways to inspire.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you inspire others, you get them wanting to do better for themselves and for others than what they previously thought they were capable of.
Right. And for me, that's the big thing, right? Like, it's never about manipulation. And for me, it's not even about leading. Like, I'm of the opinion that if you are a good leader, you're not leading, you're inspiring. You're inspiring people, you're empowering people, you're giving them the tools, the resources, the support that they need to do the best thing that they can possibly do and to be the best people that they can possibly be. When you do that, that's leadership.
Lao Tzu was a Chinese philosopher who wrote the Tao Te Ching.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing that he said was the best leader is one who, when the troops say, or when the troops have accomplished a task, they say, we did it ourselves. And it's that sense of invisibility, that invisible hand that inspires others to act.
Right.
That is a source of that inspiration, and that causes people to generate their own impetus, their own autonomy to actually get things done. Mm-hmm. One thing that I like to remind people of is that leadership is a lot like hypnosis, and in the way that all hypnosis is self-hypnosis. You actually can't be hypnotized unless you decide to go into a hypnotic state, which means you have done it yourself. Same thing with leadership. You can only be led if you decide to have your leadership, the part of you that can lead, be used in a certain direction, which is why it has to be inspired. Right. You really can't lead someone. You can inspire someone to want to lead themselves in a certain direction. Mm-hmm. And having that mindset of, okay, I can't control what people do. I can inspire them to do what is going to be of best benefit for themselves and others. But if they don't, that's fine too. Because it's more about understanding that your goal isn't to control or to manipulate people. It's more to inspire and to have them see the vision that it can be co-created with them and others to achieve a common goal.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that that's so important. When we give that choice over to other people, it not just inspires them to do what they need to, but it's an inspiring act for us, I think, in this general sense of, as leaders, when we give them the power, it gives us a different kind of goal. And I think that is, again, what makes a good leader to me is not the goal of getting people to do what you want them to do, but getting that goal of helping people to be the best version of themselves. Like, for me, that's what any leader that I've ever worked with, that was their goal. It was, yes, we have a job to do. And yes, we need to get the metrics hit, or we need to complete the sale, or we need to operate business. But their most important aspect of what they did with me personally and with their teams was always, how can I make you better? How can I help you to grow? And I think that to me is what makes a good leader. And it's what inspires people. When, I was asked by someone at some point, why does your team follow you the way that they do? I'm pretty convinced that if we had a battle going on outside, they'd follow you into battle. And it took me a really long time to respond. And it took me quite a bit more to really process that question and why that was. But I genuinely think it's because I cared about my team first. Like, my team came first in the things that I was doing. And yes, there was a goal, but me talking to them about the goal was always in their interest. It always was in a place of saying, I want them to be able to, I want somebody to take, I was telling Tim this last night. Have you ever seen Suits?
Oh, of course.
So there was this aspect where this was, I think it's in season 7 or something like that. And Jessica has left the firm and been disbarred. It was a whole big thing, right? And Harvey was like, I asked myself, what would Jessica do? And I was like, oh, WWJD, right? And so we were kind of like about that. And then I said, the interesting thing is I've been asking myself that a little bit, because she's this powerful, confident, no bullshit leader, right? And she cares. Like, she'll throw herself on a sword for people. And I was thinking about that. And as she was passing the reins basically of the practice over to Harry, she was like, it's your time. And I looked at Tim and I said, this is what I want one day. I said, I want to build the Perspective Shifters Hub to a place where it is something that I am proud to hand over to somebody else. And I want somebody to be able to do that with, I want somebody that wants to grow and wants to be in a place where they can command things and make decisions and be the best type of leader. And I know that I can just hand it over and walk away and not have any question about how it's going to be done and what's going to happen with it, And I think that's Mike Jurnt, one of our other advisory board members. That was something that he said to me very early on in my leadership career was, you always have to be training your replacement. You always have to be training your replacement, because at any given time, anything can happen. And you want to know that you can walk away. And that's what makes really good leaders, is people who have lots of replacements. So,
yeah. And that's having a good succession plan is a great quality of leadership. Right. Knowing that and that actually shows a long-term vision for the success of the company. Knowing that it doesn't rely on you. You are immaterial. The most important thing is the goal, and setting up a succession plan that is going to be for that goal is one of the most important things you can do.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, and I think that it's that I feel like is, when we think about that, I think that makes a good leader, right? One of the leaders that we had in the organization that I worked for before the last, right, was, I think that they brought up 7 or 8 leaders in our company, and it was like they were churning out our leadership team. And it's just, to me, that is what makes a good leader, right? Is people who can say, I'm going to give you the reins so that you can learn, like you said, it's that inspiration aspect. So, but yeah. So, okay. So I have to ask, you're in your car.
Yes.
In your eye. You're in your car.
I did.
To someplace away from someplace, or are you just getting away from wherever you're at?
Well, actually, I'm on a surveillance job, so okay. I'm doing 2 things at once.
That's funny. I mean, we got to do what we got to do, right? Exactly.
Yeah. So I'm helping somebody out and doing a little bit of surveillance for him. So that's kind of what I'm doing in the car. But I figured I could do 2 things at once, so why not?
Absolutely. Jason Matthews, leadership coach, aka private investigator. I'm just kidding. So, well, awesome. Well, I'm looking at the time, and I think we've been on here for about 20 minutes. As I said before to anybody listening, if you want Jason's information, you can find it on our website, perspectiveshifters.com, and just click the expert information page, or I think it's called Our Experts is the name of the tab. And his information will be there. You'll see a picture of Jason. You can click into it, and his email or his landing page should be there. If not, I also just want to put a little bit of a plug here for the hub. If anything that we've talked about today is something that you're interested in learning more about from Jason and myself, and you want access to be able to talk with both of us, we have created an online community called the Perspective Shifters Hub. And that hub is completely designed to give you access to all of our experts. So again, if you go to our expert page, you'll see all of our experts, and it gives you access to our experts. It gives you access to training and courses that we've developed and that are on that are on the hub, and it gives you access to live events where you get to have conversations with us as well. So anything that you want to add on, Jason, about your program or anything else?
I think I said this before, but if you are a man who's been struggling with actually creating the kind of success you want in your business, or furthering your success, you've established something, but you know it can go further, and you're stuck, let me know. I'm more than happy to help you figure out if working with me is the right plan and what that would look like.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for joining. I appreciate
Thanks for
you
having me.
being here. I always enjoy our conversations. I think we're very much aligned, and I look forward to the next one because I'm sure we'll do this again. So
Looking forward to it.
all right. Thanks so much. Have a great day.
You too. Bye-bye.